I would like us to draw a few principles from 1 Samuel chapter 25. We all go through some moments of making decisions, but sometimes we struggle with that. All right, so I want us to realize that the decisions we make affect others. The decision that Nabal makes not to respond favorably to the request that David had put forth affected others. We see that in verse 17. Now think it over and see what you can do, as people are talking now to Nabal's wife, Abigail. Because disaster is hanging over our master and on his whole household. The decision that Nabal has made disaster to hang on his whole household. Not just on him alone, but on his whole household. The decisions we make, or don't make for that matter, affect others' friends. And we should not just be selfish and feel like it's my decision. I'll just be, live a careless life, run around and do my hanky-panky. It won't affect my wife, it won't affect my children, it won't affect my father. No, the decision you make will affect others. Either positively or negatively. The decision you make can cause distraction. The decision you make can cause something good to happen to others. It can cause something bad to happen to others also. And we should be careful about the decisions we make. We should prayerfully consider when time comes for us to make decisions. In verse 22, may God deal with David. This is David talking. Be it ever so severely, if by morning I leave alive one male of all who belong to him. It's not all the male in the house of Nabal that had responded negatively to David's request, but hey, the decision that Nabal made was going to affect all the male in his house. Friends, again, I want us to realize the decisions we make or don't make affect others. Well, the decisions we make also affect us as individuals. Choices have consequences, not just on others, but also on you. Nabal is not really seeking to know how this decision he's making is going to affect him as an individual. Little did he know that he was actually endangering even his own life. Verse 17 again, he says, now think it over and see what you can do, because disaster is hanging over our master, that is Nabal, and his whole household. Over our master. Nabal himself was endangered by the decision he made. He decided, I'm not going to act favorably towards David. Who is this David? And that decision was going to affect him as an individual. Verse 36. When Abigail went to Nabal, he was in the house holding a banquet like that of a king. He was in high spirits and very drunk. He decided to drink silly. So she told him nothing until daybreak. Then in the morning, when Nabal was sober, his wife told him all these things, and his heart failed him, and he became like a stone. About 10 days later, the Lord struck Nabal, and he died. The decisions he made, I would say, ultimately affected him as an individual to the point of death. The decisions we make can have long-lasting repercussions on us. Friend, before you make any decision, consider its repercussions. Consider its consequences. And when we are not so sure when it comes to decision making, just go ask the Lord, Lord, what would you have me do? I also want us to realize that apart from our decisions affecting, others, and our decisions affecting us, our decisions also affect posterity. By this, I mean how you will be remembered, your descendants after you, Your decision will affect how you will be judged by history. How will you be remembered? It's so sad that we remember this chap who was rich in a negative way, really. Verse 2 shows how he had so much. A certain man in Meon who had property there at Carmel was very wealthy. He had 1,000 goats and 3,000 sheep, which he was shearing in Carmel. His name was Nabal, and his wife's name was Abigail. She was an intelligent and beautiful woman, but her husband, a Calebite, was surly and mean in his dealings. That's how we remember him. It's so unfortunate. That's how posterity, remembers this man, Nabal. How sad. And in verse 17, look at how he's also remembered. Now think it over and see what you can do, because disaster is hanging over our master and his whole household. He is such a wicked man that no one can talk to him. He's remembered as surly, mean, and now wicked, and a terrible listener. No one can even talk to him. This man is being remembered for all those negative things. We also remember him as a drunkard. Wow, do you want to be remembered that way? And how I pray that as individuals we shall inquire of the Lord regarding the decisions we must make. Some decisions look very obvious and straightforward, but still involve God. Seek the Lord, inquire of the Lord. The decisions you make will affect you. The decisions you make will affect others. The decisions you make will affect future generations. Posterity will be affected because of the decisions you make in the here and now.